Okay, let's continue to talk about this. Nice report there, Jenny. Thank you for that. Let's bring in someone with the Homeland Security and anti-terrorism background for sure. Congressman Pat Meehan. Congressman, always good to see you.
Mike, great to be with you. Alex, good to see you.
The question always comes up after one of these episodes, what do you do about it? This guy just seemed to be wandering around. I mean, targeting the sailors and the Marines, certainly at the race on the Jersey Shore. But then goes to 23rd Street. Why 23rd Street? I know it's busy on a Saturday night. Then ends up at a train station in Elizabeth, New Jersey. How can you stop any of this?
Yeah, we're looking at what is a difficult situation because you have an American citizen, you have a guy who did travel, but you don't know when they came back that they found anything suspicious about his travel. You have somebody who hasn't otherwise come into any kind of suspicion with the law enforcement. You have a lone wolf, and a combination of those factors creates the situation which you're looking for activity that gives you evidence up front.
Well, Congressman, though, how do you determine what should be suspicious? Because we know that he visited an area of Pakistan that was known for its Taliban presence. So at what point do you say, okay, and he had secondary questioning, additional questioning. So at what point is the line where you say, all right, maybe this is something we should look more into?
You're asking just the right question. We need to know what happened over there. They're going to be looking at three places. They're going to be looking at his communications, my suspicion, whether they have any access to any kind of internet. They're going to be working with Afghan and Pakistan officials. The areas he was in Quetta were known to be Taliban hot spots and areas for radicalization. What was he doing over there for more than a year? They're also going to be looking at, you know, anything that
Did we know he was there?
Yeah, they knew he was there.
That's the scary part, I think, for people, is we knew he was there. We did extra questioning, yet somehow, thankfully, I mean, wasn't worse, but this happened.
Well, he got married to a woman over there, and so, you know, there's a possibility that he was spending time with family over there. But once again, we don't know enough about the time, and his explanations seem to appear that they were simply family-related experiences over there. But we don't know what he was doing, how he was employed, and what kind of things he was doing to.
Do you know something I thought about yesterday? I know that you take Amtrak from here to D.C.
I was on it yesterday.
Back and forth, and we go up to New York a lot, and down to D.C. I never get stopped. Well, I got stopped once about 3 years ago, and they looked in my bag. That was it. How come there isn't more security on trains? Not that I'm looking for it, but people ask that all the time.
Well, one of the first presents you see is a lot of the dogs. The biggest deterrent, believe it or not, is the dogs. Yesterday I was in New York. I was in the station. The governor has called out the National Guard. You see them in every car. I was walking in Chelsea. And the impact is still being felt by the people up there, but there's a sense of resilience, and you know, there's millions of people walking around. So the real key is to identify these kinds of people before they.
Are we spending enough money on intelligence? Because I think it's the only way you're going to stop it. Because you can't stop the individual things that are happening on the street.
Well, we're going to have to go back and see, just like we saw before with some of the other situations. We're going to have to find out what we needed to know about his activities before he came back from Afghanistan. I mean, I think that's the place where you're going to discover whether there was radicalization, who he was associating with. This is the same situation as the Sarnoff brothers. The one guy that went over there, became radicalized, came back, and was able to get into the country.
But it sounds like there's no way really to get ahead of this, because you're like you said, I mean, he got married, he could have been spending time with family. My question is, we're doing this, but this is after the event has happened. How do we do it and make sure we're stopping this before?
I guess we don't know about all the times that they've stopped, right?
Well, he was stopped and questioned when he came into the country, and he was questioned more extensively because of the places that he traveled to. He had explanations for why he was there. This is the changing dynamic. You know, September 11th was a coordinated conspiracy. What we have now is radicalization of lone wolves who are inspired, and the worst case scenario is the last two have been American citizens who are presumably radicalized, and that's why you're going to be looking to see what kind of communications have taken place on his internet or anything else that may have indicated that he's been communicating. They'll also look at the bombs to see what kind of information they can develop from that. My suspicion is you're going to see it generated from the Inspire magazine, much the way that they were in Boston.
Inspire magazine, which teaches folks how to make these.
You can go on the internet and find that out.
My point was that I made very poorly was, of course, we probably don't know all the times the FBI has been successful in stopping somebody.
Very true.
Well, that's true. I mean, you know, the intervention, and it's a fine line in human rights, civil rights, and other kinds of things where you have to have a predicate to be able to continue. The question is, how much oversight did they have? Was he suspicious in any other way?
Good to see you.
Thank you so much.